nice shot. They've got to be careful.
Oh, alright, here comes the ult.
Doesn't need play-by-play. You just watch it. It's cinematic.
Yeah.
Just pinch me, it's nearly midnight and we're going to my place. As I confess my feelings, is it too early for you? It's clear now I know what I wanna do to you. I lose myself right now. Will you come through? Oh babe, this morning, ready to be alone then. I saw you laying next to me.
The chaos bomb! Claire jumps in with the grand slam! Do something right now. Sonic Wave is there. It's getting lower and lower. Oh! They've stolen it! Malice have got the Baron!
Gloves up. Order, Chiefs. Both of them want the dub today, and we know both of these teams are capable of taking it. It just depends on how they feel. You know that Chiefs are coming into this probably as the favourites, but it all depends on how Order are feeling. You know, some days they can't find that consistency, and other days they can. So Rusty, tell me what's going to be happening in this matchup.
I mean, honestly, like, given what you just said to me, Mac, it's impossible to tell you, right? Because we need to know what iterations of both teams show up today. I will say that this was probably the match we were most excited for, especially given what happened yesterday, right? But Chiefs, we didn't even get an indicator of what they're capable of. They played against the Cheese. It just looked good, right? So ready for some good league today.
Yep. Well, let's see if we get some good league. You couldn't tell us too much about it, so fortunately, the players can have a chat and tell us what they think.
They're very good, and I respect the top lane a lot. Topoon, I think he's one of the best in the league, by far. The last time we versed, it was like really close, but this time it won't be as close, so I can't wait.
we're fairly confident against Order because I think that they're a team that we've figured out. I think when their mid jungle doesn't really have the ability to control the early game or control the map, they don't really function well as a team. So we think like we're able to shut that down, then like their team doesn't really function.
Unless we make mistake all the game, I think it should be easy game for us. I'll scale and play better at late games then.
The differences you'll see in this game would be mainly like in the jungle role and how much Arthur can do. Once Top Moon is on ahead and having like an easy game, I feel like the rest of the team struggles.
I actually really enjoy playing against Kisei because I think he's one of the like few mid laners who is aggressive and will actually like play the lane instead of just like pushing and moving consistently.
KV, you better gank me or you guys gonna lose.
I think they're always beatable in my eyes. It's just whoever shows up on the day wins.
Always good to hear from the players. Rusty, did that help you figure out what's going on and who's going to
The
win?
last line was whoever shows up on the day wins. Did it help me?
Well, look, at least it is a day or an evening, depending on where you are. I think someone's watching it from the morning. Lolo over in EU. I don't know. But let's talk about the players. The players got to speak about themselves, which I'm sure they loved, but we also like talking about them too. So, Chiefs, they are first up here in the discussion. Tapoon showed us that top lane is irrelevant last week, but is he going to make it relevant this week, Skinny?
He is, because at least as far as the split started, he was gapping everybody. He was roaming, he was stealing your jungle, he was stealing your mid laner. He was getting himself fed. And he just, once again showcased why he is a returning threat that made them so strong all the way back as a trio in 2020. They're a very well-balanced team. If you look at some of their representation, at least when it comes to damage, they all do a fair bit of the heavy lifting, so there's not a case of one person falls down and the team capitulates, almost like Biopem was trying to refer to. So I think coming into this one, both teams will be coming in the best form so far. So, given how close it was last time, I imagine it's going to be a very even affair once again.
And look, it's not just a one-horse race, Rusty. We know the Chiefs are coming into this as the favourites. Raze has some ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous stats in the bot lane, and I'm looking towards him to make this happen. But again, we've said some great things about Puma. So let's start to talk order here. We know that we asked for a few things to happen, one of which was for Corporal to show us what he's made of, and yesterday he definitely did that. But going up against Dragku in this bot lane matchup, how do you think he's going to fare?
Yeah, I mean, this bot lane matchup's interesting for the supports specifically, just because Corporal shows that he wants to roam a lot, right? If yesterday was the key for their success, he was so active around the map. They got the early lead, and then that just carried through so well, and it made Heavy look like a brand new beast as well. It's such a comprehensive victory for Order. And, there was a couple of conversations. Corporal in the interview said that he heard that there was issues. They've been exploring those issues, looking at ways to solve them, because every game's either kill or be killed, and there hasn't been a middle ground yet. But Chiefs is definitely a team that will be challenging them, so there might be a situation where they're behind, and that'll definitely draw into question what strategies it is that Order have in play, because you cannot always rely on just being better players, especially in a game like this one, where you know Chiefs are going to take it to you. And we also know Drag, who likes to roam and match that, so a very active support duo to watch for.
Well, that's it, right? When I think of like people that roam in this league, Dragku was always up there. Even last year, man was just always just darting around the rift, trying to set his teammates up for success, no matter how low of a level he was. But of course, that is just the support life, right? Now, I know we are handsome. I know you love looking at us here on the desk, but unfortunately for you guys, Order's sent in content, so you don't get to look at us. You get to hear what they say with a little bit of talkback.
I went to like a $40 haircut place. I saw like 5 people get a haircut before me, and they all ended up bald. So I was legit like, nah, dude.
What do you mean? That's the freshest cut you could get.
If Puma doesn't go prestige, I'm running it down.
Can we look the fight?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can TP. Yeah, go on Rise.
We're just looking at Rise. That's
I
flash.
can go Rise. I can go Rise.
Go drop him.
Good job.
We keep
Look at
going.
this rumble, look at this rumble. Wait, look at Rise.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Rise no flash.
Let's keep going, keep going, keep going. Yeah, we can go. We go Phyllis.
Nice, kill
I've
it.
done again too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we can dive, we can
try
dive, we can
get
dive.
as
You
much.
have to tank, you have to tank.
Yeah,
Yeah.
drink, alright.
Ivy. Don't be scared.
Good job. This guy asked me to share my Twitter account, and he would pay me $200 a day. And he would go and reshape my Twitter into the NFT space. Because you are verified, we could make $5,000 a day. Evan is drafting a team from the Woolworths checkout right now. He just stands there and makes sure no one's stealing anything. Otherwise, he tackles them to the ground. It's like no one steals anything from Woolworths as we're drafting.
Play for 5.
Okay,
Play for 5.
play for 5.
I'm ulting now.
Are we looking? I got lantern. Look at me. Look at us.
Look at Gwen.
Gwen. I can ulti us.
Okay, look at me. Look at me.
We'll take a while. But...
Sure.
My Bramble vest killed Edla.
Work on.
Holy shit, man. They kind of
Peta,
just got assassinated.
Oh no.
Oh shit. Sorry.
Sorry.
I didn't know.
That was so sexy, dude.
You gotta yell it louder, dude. How am I supposed to know?
Well, I tried to kill them in like 1 second, so how was I supposed to know?
That was the fakest sorry I've ever heard. There was no sincerity in that voice. Oh, sorry. That was it. That's all you got. Now, I'd be asking for a little bit more than that if someone stole my Penta, but I'd never let that happen. I'm a Chad. Now, someone else that's in Chad, we're going to bring it back in. Kitty, people hate seeing us on the desk, and I heard... Oh, look at the flex.
Oh.
Now, if you could just go flex on whoever you have for the interview, that'd be great.
So I have Bio Panda, but I'm sure he can flex more than me.
Hello.
Waiting on the side for the interview. Hello, Bio. So you are going up against a very hard team tonight. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling quite confident. I feel like scrims are going well, and the practice that we're going into this game is not like any different. And I feel like for us, it's just consistency. Like we're very strong as a team, but sometimes we show up and sometimes we don't. And I feel like that's our biggest weakness as a team that we're just working on. So, yeah.
Yeah, so it seems like you guys are ordering Kise to play a control mage mid, even banning out the Cassidy against Mammoth last night. How's the team changed, and what strategies have you guys developed?
I feel like we're just playing towards a 5v5 type strategy right now to really get on the same page and understand how our win cons like work as a team, and then I think we just start branching out from there. We have to just start from like slow, and then we'll like ramp up. And it's all about like just getting the wins on the board, reaching playoffs, and then the best team will win the best of threes. Because right now it's just best of ones, anything can happen. So we shouldn't be like worried about winning or losing. It's more about just getting the best seeding and showing the best that we can throughout these weeks. So
Securing playoff is currently the main goal of every team. Good to know. But Bio, you are going to play against your... Sorry, I just fumbled. You are about to play your rematch against Tapoon tonight, who has previously played in the NA Academy. What makes you think that Tapoon is the best top laner in the league so far?
I think he's just facilitator, and he just plays for his team's role. I don't think he does anything special. Like, he really doesn't. I think he just gets carried by his team, but I feel like once he falls behind, his team crumbles. And I think that's a big flaw in their team that they don't recognize yet. And if he doesn't, like, he has to play, he always plays just these really boring matchups, and I feel like he's just not as special as a lot of people think, but I think he's very consistent as a player, so yeah.
Hopefully we see a consistent performance from Order tonight as well, and best of luck, Bio, and thanks for the interview.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Did Bio get, like, incredibly nice? Like, he's just so well-spoken and so happy for the last couple of weeks.
Bro,
but I remember, like, on the old iterations of, like, when he was over on PGG, man was like, they're all going savage, they're all just trying to be, you know, and it's just like a full flip. He's just like the nicest guy, just chilling.
He's always been nice. The thing with Bio is he probably does, with a bit of osmosis, join the teams that he's a part of. And let's just be honest, that last year's PGG had some conversations to be had. There was some ego to throw around in that squad. So he's definitely copped like 10% of that. But he's definitely an extremely lovely human. So I think he's gone back to normal with the quiet Order squad.
Well, back to normal, and let's see if anyone's going back on predictions, because I am going Order. Rusty, I have a friend. It's been like days. I've been all on my own. But tell me, why are we going for Order today?
Okay, so one, I chose these before we saw them play yesterday, and I'm actually quite happy now because I wasn't aware that we'd see a performance that we did. I banked on the inconsistency of Order just showing up to play this time around. I know that Bio, when he shows up, can handle Topun because they're both just little minion goblins. They're focused on their wave control. So Bio, if anyone's going to deal with Topun, it would be him. And I look at the Kevi Kisei duo and hope that they play carry champions that they're comfortable, because I think that's the place where we'll see the most variance. Puma just a little bit of a freak as well at the moment, might be able to deal with Raze. So I think it's just an even game, and I took the 51% on the Order side.
But look, I'm going to take a dub with you because Champ Select's ready. We're going to jump straight on into the game.
Thank you very much, Mac. Yes, let's jump into this one and see if this one will deliver a game that goes over 30 minutes and one that showcases just how close, how evenly matched these two teams are. Because I feel like, as you said already, Rusty, coming into this one, they're in fantastic form. It should be dead center even as to who can take the crown this time around.
The one thing that we do know is that Order want the 5v5s. Order are definitely looking more for their team fighting. That is where they have found the most success. And we know that Chiefs aren't always the team that will just take the fight, right?
Sure.
Like they're more of the squad that will look for opportunistic fights, but they're more about the gold. They're more about the map play in general. You know, when you've got Arthur backing your team up, when you've got Topun in top as well, who does demand that pressure. And Tally, of course, is super experienced mid laner, can run the teleport gameplay. 1-3-1s, they're always an option. You never know what you're going to get from the Chiefs, where I think we know what we're going to get from them.
Yeah, I think he raised actually a really good point there by Pemper about Topun being a bit of a facilitator. I feel like Tally fulfills the same role, right? He can definitely go the carries, but can also take a back seat and protect them with champions like the Zillion, hence why it's being banned away, whereas you'd never in your daylight see Kisei opt to go into an enchanter, any form of protection. He wants to be the hard carry.
I thought we'd get this. So these are the two teams that were playing the Veigar, and Veigar is a very prolific champion right now, not just for Chiefs, but for Order, but also with the potential of being flexible, Skimmy. It's not going to be seen as a flex pick by any means this time around, but it's worth just highlighting that there's a world where Veigar might disappear to other lanes. It is going to be blind picked mid lane though, so super curious to see what Kisei plays into it. Someone that does have those assassins, does have those control mages to match. Plenty of options there.
Good point. What will we go in terms of supporting options? If it is to be the Leona, then Corporal had probably his best performance of the split so far with that one. It's going to be another deviation away from the common Zeri pairing, which is to give it a shielding support. The Enchanters definitely right up at the top there, even with Yuumi and Lulu still available. Corporal opting for more lane aggression.
This is the other option, right? So you've got your Yuumi and then you've got your Leona angle. Leona also, not like you just mentioned, is good for Corporal, but not only that, works nicely with the Corki and the Zeri that are going to be locked in because it amplifies all of their damage they're able to provide from longer ranges with the Sunlight passives. As she is in the mix in the longer range, is able to just chuck out those abilities. Veigar and Trist are very low-range champions as well, particularly early for the Trist as it scales up for range, and Corki is a lot longer range as the game progresses. So you would say naturally works well into the Veigar just by being able to avoid that. Is also a more of Malmortius user, Skimmy. So there are worlds where you get that shield into the Veigar, but I think with the changes to more being bonus AD, it's probably more likely to be a shield bow.
It would seem to be the common pairing. Very curious to see where these champions do go. As you mentioned already, the Veigar certainly could go in lane, could be played in bot lane quite honestly, but there's a Tristana locked in as well, which raises what he plays, so you're starting to really rack your head around it and think, okay, what do we really have on the cards here? No doubt Chief should be well versed into this Zeri Leona. It's what they actually played against Peace. You date your mind back, and definitely gave them a lot of hard aggression, but they did fall victim to a lot of poke, which Chiefs don't have too much of right now.
But you know, just a fun fact for you, if I was Dragku, and I'm absolutely not competing in this game, I'd be looking for an Alistar angle, because I am an Alistar Viego enthusiast, where you don't have to use headbutt pulve, you can just headbutt. Lock him in the cage, just headbutt him into the cage. It's basically a wall, right? Makes the combo just supreme.
Sure.
Also not too bad into the Leona, depending on how your ADs work. But how did Order know?
They just knew, bro.
How did Order know what I was saying? I didn't think that would happen. It was an Alistar angle, Skinny.
It turns out that Corporal knows what's up because he played this also last time. If my memory serves me correctly as well, that was the only Alistar game. So if it was ever to be a team, it would have been Order.
I'm actually a little bit sad that it was banned away. How dare they read my mind?
It's okay.
Still plenty of choices. I mean, for me, getting rid of the Alistar almost bottlenecks the Braum angle for Dragu. Braum Trist is what they played last week, I believe. Works nicely with the Trist. You can be super aggressive. There's also the options of like that's a Nasus. All right.
Okay, what kind of dark tech do we have here? Have we perhaps seen from the fans and said 200 stacks, 2k EQ?
Is this a Tryndamere counter? Because I can imagine that a WMAX Nasus is gross to deal with, and it removes Ghost as a viable option. I guess you can also Hullbreaker and just chill out top lane. But you're a Nasus.
So, quick stock check in terms of at least global stats. Nasus, this split has only seen 3 games globally. 1 top, 2 mid. Very curious about this one.
Honestly, I see it as just a Tryndamere option, right? Like, we're not going to be surprised if that's just the Braum locked in and the Chiefs finish off their composition with that pick, right? That was something that we just spoke about, has been seen. It's now a really nice front-to-back composition. Trist can be aggressive, Braum can work with it. Braum also has the Trynd and the Lee Sin to dash through to protect, and also hit those stun passives on. But there's a bloody Nasus. Just chill it in top lane. I swear, it has to be because it's a Tryndamere and because the Wither is just too good, right? Yeah. Like, range champions are okay. Mobility is fine to get away from the Nasus, but if you are Withered, what do you actually do as a Tryndamere? You have no dive threat. Your trade potential is probably really good early, but would scale off very fast with armor. Bit of an odd one.
Well, it just feels to me, right? You rush the tabbies, you get the Frozen Heart, and you kind of once again laugh at the Tryndamere, much like we saw, what was it, last night? With Tron the Bomb playing the Tryndamere top side and just unable to play the game. This is that times 11. So it's going to be a very rough time. BioPanther outspoken for this top lane matchup. And I suppose for good reason too. He was feeling confident because he had this champ tucked away. What exciting drafts. Really giving us a little bit of everything to be eager to see and hyped for. You see a drafting advantage here.
Do I see a drafting advantage? I feel like the Chiefs comp just makes sense. I think what we saw from Order, particularly through their first 3 picks, throwing a Viego and a Nasus into the mix actually makes their comp really good, right? Like I don't think there is ever really a point in my mind anyway, because there is a lot of just theory going on in my mind more than actual practice and history behind this, but Nasus should always be able to diffuse Tryndamere. Viego and Lee Sin are fairly matched in general. And looking at the damage and the range that can come from the bottom 3 of Order, I like their comp a lot because the Chiefs have to go into them to get anything done. So I would say that I'm a fan of Order's comp more.
Exciting.
But Veigar's broken, Skimmy. So.
Yeah, well, he is. It really is, and it almost feels like we've role reversed really what was the theme of the last time these two teams met. It was Tally on the Corki. They scaled. Late game, the Rockets packed a punch, and ultimately Chiefs won that game. Whereas this time around, they need to make stuff happen early. But it's just too much damage, too much mobility, and a little bit too much scaling on the cards here. The final game to close out day number 2 as, well, we're just going to see what could be a potential first blood nice and early. The coaching interview might just have to wait. There it is. And maybe let's just breathe for a second. Well, I suppose now's probably no better time. Welcome, Coach Series from the side of Order.
Yeah, well, I hope that first blood was for us.
Can't be leaking strats here, mate.
Spoilers, no spoilers.
No spoilers, absolutely not. Hey, on a serious note, you've only dropped 3 games so far, up against Chiefs, Peace, as well as PGG. So going into this second round robin, who would you say you're most excited to face up against?
So from the 3 games that we dropped against the teams, I think that at least versus the Chiefs and versus PG, we had some competitive games, and we know exactly what went wrong and where. Whereas versus Peace, it was just the absolute collapse in general of not only from like the pre-planning but also into the game. So I'm most excited to get to play against Peace again because I think we have a lot more to show than what we did, and definitely take the win, but at least have a much more competitive showing.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And on a quick note before we jump back into things, looking at the draft, obviously a lot of crazy new picks have happened this week alone, but going into this one, talk to me a little bit about this Nasus.
Right, so the Nasus is a bit of a no-brainer. So as soon as we pick Corki as a response to the Veigar for the range, the Tryndamere is just it's just opportune. And I figured that most people in general will get baited by it. So if you pick something that's just going to diffuse the split, because the matchup itself is too important, that's all you really need to do. So Nasus is basically a neutralizing pick that actually gets to outscale Trend in the 1v1. It's hard for them to punish Nasus because we have mid-prio, and it's very hard for 2 AD champions to dive a Nasus as well. So yeah, it's one of those picks where it just works in this game. A lot of power with it, and it's going to just never scale into this game and deal with the Tryndamere effectively.
Yeah, I love the answer. He's going to freebie to everybody else watching out there. So he's love your work, mate.
Absolutely.
Love the boys, and good luck for the game.
Cheers, mate.
Well, we had a first blood. Quite honestly, wasn't sure we were going to see any more, but I thought, jump into the coaching interview, and we got a lot of good insight.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of said what we were suspecting anyway, so I don't feel like we got, it's good to hear it from the coach specifically. It's obviously important for us. Kevy is going to walk to his blue buff and see that just taken away from in front of his own eyes. Smite in hand, but definitely no flash either to get in range, Skimmy. As we know that Kevy wouldn't mind a cheeky flash for a smite to go into the montage. Arthur just going to say hello in mid lane. So the first blood that happened onto Kevy, both bottom laners and jungler flashed from the side of the Chiefs. I mean, we're going bottom.
We're certainly going in again. They're looking to try and maximize the passive value out of this Braum. A flash away as well as the cleanse as Puma is just gone out of this fight. Now Corporal is on the aftershock.
Where'd Arthur go?
The shield is nice.
He's
and
pushed
Arthur
away.
has just walked away. Yet a collapse from order from mid is nice.
Yeah, it's the freedom to move from Kisei as well that's going to mean a big deal there. Trades in bottom still pretty successful for Raze. We're just going to say both Braum and Trist have no flash. They are still a hyper-aggressive lane, but no flash means if you make a mistake on your engage, you get punished, right? So it's good for the side of the Chiefs that was successful. It was still a cleanse used, which means Leona has a bit more of an avenue of entry now. So I'm going to be looking at Corporal to see if there's any plays that he can choose to make. Zeri is not the highest damage. Zeri Leona, though, can increase the damage output pretty aggressively early.
Yeah, certainly can. Can look to try and patch in the weakness that Zeri will have before those items come on through.
They dive this. I can't help but feel like diving's a mistake.
Yeah, Kevy's on his way, popping down. Draco's going to look to lock them in place. Take the aggro, Puma's the target, and Puma is kill confirmed.
Really
Draco is so low, he's just going to get out. That's perfect from them. But now they're re-engaged, looking for the final kill. They're going to share the aggro around. The Guardian gets propped. They're going to turn their attention towards Kevy. The rocket jump away. They're going to find a clap back. It's a 1-for-1 so far. Viego claims the soul, and surely this is where Order come out ahead. Viego with resets, with HP gains, and he just gets a triple kill.
And you can't give Kevy Lee Sin. He's too much of a mechanics master on the pick as well, but gets the reset off of Arthur. This dive from the Chiefs is so good on the get-go because the aggro is perfect. Draco's able to sneak that attack in just prior to the Trist jump landing. It's picture perfect. Choosing to go for Corporal here is a big mistake. That Leona still has the flash ready, and they're just able to cycle cooldowns, and at this point, Kevy gets into the mix. He's here. Right place, right time. Ward hops after the Q connects. Knows how Lee Sin works. Easy triple for the jungler of Order. I think if you take the 1 kill and leave, you're pretty happy with that if you're the Chiefs.
Certainly would be. And that has given a very valid window for Kevy to showcase that the first blood really meant nothing. He is now the only one in the game with a bounty, and he's going to accelerate his growth in this game profoundly. And I feel like the question once again comes to sort of the differences in how they're both looking to try and set up, right? Kevy wants to farm, but wants to be aggressive, wants to be ganking, wants to try and carry more so than anything, whereas Arthur has tended to play a little bit more of a facilitating role. So in the context of the game, could have big impact.
He is much more of an aggressive gamer over on Kevy's side, that's for certain. And we were looking at a point earlier where it felt like Eve banned and Kevy wasn't going to do anything. But it does seem like he's turned that ship around real quick. We know that he's got the hyper carry potential with a whole bunch of champions. So it's good to see it from Kevy's point. Top lane, we saw a brief moment of it, Skimmy. It's important to highlight that it is a scaling counter, as Coach Siri said here from the Order side. I agree with that. the scaling is important because one, there's an exhaust. So not only do you defuse the Tryndamere with the exhaust pre-6, once you hit 6, you have armor, you have the Wither. Trynd can't really dive. You just outlast any kind of dive attempt. So more than one person is a requirement for that to be successful. And Nasus becomes harder and harder to kill as the game progresses. And it's just such a huge 5-head draft option if Bio's good at it. We know he can play almost everything.
Absolutely. And I mean, we're going to obviously have to watch how he plays the lane out because really critical when they last played. He was a lot more passive on that Gragas, not really seeking out the opportunities to go for the kill confirmed. But if the last night's game was anything to go off, then certainly back to his best in being the one to find those angles, to commit to the kills, and to show up big when required. Has actually opted for the CDR boots, not the tabbies, so rather than go for the full protection, just wants to be much more of a nuisance with cycling through those cooldowns.
I mean, he's a Nasus, right? You want to get Wither up all the time, also Q stacks as fast as possible. So it's also not going to be like a Bramble Vest either. It's the Glacial Shroud, or like the Shroud. What is it now? Glacial Buckler or something? It doesn't matter. It's the Shroud. Picked up with it, so max ability haste as fast as possible. And this will continue to happen, right? Like the Ghost has been used by Topu, and he wants a crack.
Yeah, he wants to go for the dive, doesn't he?
Remember,
He's got to be careful. The exhaust goes around. He's already hit the spin. He has a flash, bear in mind, so he needs to try and buffer it nicely. There is no panic. Holds his nerve, calm in the face of adversity. Knew he had Arthur backing him up as well. And now they're going to look for the re-engage. That's the Sonic Wave will not connect, so will fizzle out.
He's just missing. Kisei was also just around the corner, so I'm not sure Arthur wants that at all. For just a second, it looked bad for the side of Order because Bio left the turret, but they have numbers. The numbers are still going to be in their favor with Leona showing in mid-wave right now. So if the Veigar chooses to rotate, they will still have a +1 on the fight, but Kisei very low mana.
Don't know if they can buy enough time to bring Dracu into the fold of things. Order going to kill confirm this one unless they can try and make something crazy happen here. Perfect solar flare right on top of Arthur's head. He's forced to flash away. Cops a second exhaust. All to guarantee the Herald, which it is. As they tease at taking down members of Chiefs in a skirmish, but ultimately are quite content to get away.
Puma just used, it looks like the ultimate down in bottom lane as well. The Chain Lightning gave that away. It just goes on cooldown. Ray's also with no ultimate of his own. So it seems like Puma had the initiative in this 1v1 down in bottom lane. So I like the initiative from Order overall, right? If Herald's the play and they win the 1v1, they play for the objectives topside. This also protects Biopanther and buys more time for the scaling and stops any kind of early advances from Topoon. They get there with just enough time before Dracu can even get into the mix. So we spoke about the potential of roaming supports, both with their early moves.
Do have a lot of questions about the itemization that is going to come out from this Nasus though. Is it going to be the Randuins? You know, is he going to go for the Dead Man's Plate? What is the variation after what you'd imagine is going to be Frozen Heart into Divine Thunderer? What comes after that? It's going to pack a punch.
Just be the Hull Break attack, right?
Oh,
like,
for sure.
If you really wanted to and to commit to the side lane, I don't know how much Biopanther is an advocate of being a side lane goblin. Not usually his go-to.
Ooh.
Very close on the timing, but they were also spotted by Vision, right? That ward in the bush for Raze. He had the window of opportunity himself. Was just steadfast in his decision to recall. Doesn't lose any tempo. Also, honestly, Skimmy, we're not sure it's a Divine Thunderer angle. It makes sense, you're right. But Bio's the kind of guy that'll build a locket to be a support while being a tank top laner.
It's true.
What if it's a locket?
Sense. Nothing does make sense. There's a cage, which I don't think Tally can really look to punish with. But what I do like about this is that Order are playing for the scaling. Chiefs need to hit the tempo nice and early, but they have been denied that first Herald, which has been instrumental. It has really been the catalyst to their early game success.
Without a doubt. I can't help but feel like Order is so content for a stable game currently. Nice little engaged bottom.
Raze in trouble, hits the cleanse, buffers the rocket jump. Perfect. Absolutely perfect with that one. Could have been very dicey in a 1v2, but doesn't get punished.
Still popping that cleanse means that a lot of stun cooldowns can be cycled from Leona without the need of that ultimate. We're seeing exactly the concern that Biopanther and Order will have right now, because to me, it feels like It feels like Chiefs scale incredibly well into this game, but I still have this lingering feeling that the comp of order is just a bit better later. I'm wondering how both teams are going to choose to play this out, because I honestly, order are pretty content just scaling into this one. The turret gets delayed so much every time Top Boon shows up to hit the turret, he can just get withered. And Bio can just delay the wave by clearing it as fast as possible. But it's still going to be turret pressure, right? It's still going to be a lead perceived here for Chiefs through top lane.
Oh, Tully has to be careful. A flash done across the wall from Raptors into mid lane. Tally would have been so certain that he had the execute on towards that Corki, but it's just not the case.
Corporal's unleashed, man. Between yesterday and today, this Leona is a different breed of player. You can see that ward placed by Corporal. He's so vigilant of someone being in that bush. Like, I know that it feels like they haven't spotted them. They will get confirmation now, but even just the way Corporal was playing that vision, they knew Chiefs were in the river. So they show respect. They get the knowledge, and only then do they push into the river when they see them back away. Clean play from Order. Nice pick in mid lane. Huge that it's on to Tally as well.
Tally going to TP back to his second turret in the mid lane. Poon continues to batter down the top lane. He's got a healthy CS advantage right now, acquired a lot of plate gold too. It will have to be their main source of strength before this game becomes a little bit too dicey. Dragu flashing forward, a flash of disengage away from Puma. The explosive shot will not be fully stacked up, so it does just tickle the Zeri at this stage. Corporal will concede his life, as really at this stage he is just buying time. And it is Raze, the ultimate benefactor.
Yeah, that's just a bridge too far from Order, right? Like the dragon screams out loud when it's killed. So you know your window of opportunity to push that wave is gone, and they just stay a little bit too long and they get punished for it. So Corporal pays the sacrifice for Puma to try and crash the wave in. Kevy's going to protect.
They want to go for more though. Puma's going to hit the ultimate. Raze is dead. Raze is gone. It was so close. But does Viego a little bit too strong at this stage? And he's still hunting for more.
It was perhaps looking for an opportunity to make a play. Kisei level 11 comes in with no package. It is also going to be the Luden's Echo, by the way, so we're not going to be seeing any kind of shield bow builds from him. Might be that we do get a more of Malmortius, or at least a Hex Drinker. It makes sense into a Vega for the matchup, but we look towards the play that happened bottom, Skimmy. Yeah. I think it's fair to say that it was just well measured by Kevy. I think Raze had done the mental maths. He knew that he had lethal in a 1v1, but ulting one auto attack too early into the bush, just a little bit too early, just loses vision and wasn't going to be able to get that lethal auto attack, which is a jump reset, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, it was really close, and you know, given the fact that he had the item advantage, he's rushed the Kraken Slay. He has no boots up into Azeri, which has Sheen and Berserkers. He's no doubt run the numbers and thought, this is lethal, this is the high risk, high reward plays which will win us this game, which is almost warranted on this occasion, as it is dead even at 14 minutes with the plates going down. The gold will not differ between these two teams, but the setup certainly will. Order with 1 Herald, Chiefs with 2 Drakes. Now, I do wonder if this is going to be a game which goes down to those high-intensity Dragon Soul contests.
It certainly will probably come down to those objectives. It seems like when Chiefs are playing, that's a way that it's going to go. And it's nice to get a game that feels a little bit more objective focused, I guess is the way to put it, right? Like, we're not getting a crazy 18-minute, literally game over game in the 4th one here. 14 minutes in being dead even is exciting for all of us. We spoke about already the scaling options that exist for both respective teams. The Vega obviously infinitely scaling. Nasus the exact same. Triss getting the range from it, but Triss you'd say is more of an early mid type of champion that is just good late because of the range.
Sure.
Lots of things to consider here, and the Tryndamere being strong while he can in the 1v1 matchup will still be strong later if he gets into team fights without a wither on his head. So lots there to consider for these objective fights.
It is a good concern, right? The fact that this is not necessarily just to diffuse the Tryndamere alone. When Biopemper does decide to show his face in these team fights, if it is going to be a case of flipping for Barons, flipping for Souls, and much like I feel like the game between Chiefs and Peace, right? There was a lot of tension around those objectives. Every single time you saw it, it was picture perfect. It was 5v5 full bloodbaths with these teams doing the the old swan dance, to say the least, right? Of showcasing, who was the better player, pound for pound, roll for roll.
One other thing here, just thinking through it, Skimmy, is the support AD duo of Chiefs, I feel like are by far the most aggressive duo that we've seen in the LCO to date. Not just in this game, but playing Trist Braum. And I think it's like Raze on Trist has a killer instinct, and Braum has no choice but to follow, and that's kind of how you play the 2v2, right?
Yeah.
So I think now that you've got Raze on Trist, he's kind of unleashed. And this aggression, to me, is something that I think is missing from a lot of bottom laners in our league. So it's been really refreshing to actually watch this type of gameplay, not a sit in bushes, do nothing support style gameplay while ADs just farm.
Yeah, definitely a lot more active, right? As you said, we have seen a fair few 2v2s take place, but for the most part, it has been a case of supports go for a roam, the 1v1 then takes place, they're AFK farming, they're getting levels, they're getting items, they group up and say, I'm a late game AD carry, let's see what can really happen. And as you quite rightly say, Braum is one of those champions which I suppose for a long time was synonymous with the Lucian, right? Very easy to stack up that passive, but Tristana, given that she is going to go for the Hail of Blades, one of the only champions right now that will opt for the Hail of Blades rather than a lethal tempo, can find value with the Kraken Slayer, can find value with the passive, and can find value with bringing Mac back into the conversation. How about that for a segue?
Oh,
do you like
beautiful.
that one?
That was your best work.
Oh, thank you so much.
Congratulations on the segue. I'd love to be a part of it. Thank you for using my name in it. Now, I thought Twitch chat was trolling when everyone was screaming out, Nasus ban! Ban Nasus! And they just weren't doing it. And I was just sitting there like, Nasus? In competitive? What bloody timeline are we living in? And then it gets picked. And here we are, and it's doing okay. I feel like a lot more of that action's going down in the bot lane, though, and I'm loving how competitive this game is so far. I'm actually annoyed that we're paused because I was just focusing on the game, thinking, why is a pause coming through? I'm having so much fun, and I don't like it when fun stops. Now, fortunately, I'm here, and I'm told I'm pretty fun. Am I fun, Skimmy?
You're absolutely fun. I mean,
see, I always get told I'm fun, just like Skimmy did. Now,
yes.
Rusty, am I fun?
Yeah, of course you are.
Yeah, good. Well, we love fun here.
He says in a very...
He was like held at gunpoint. Am I fun? Say yes.
The second I said it, I was like, wow, that was way too calm. Like, I can't just...
Yeah.
You can't say someone's fun with a calm voice because it just sounds like you're lying.
I heard a lie in the tone there.
There was no lie.
I think we're going to have words after the show today, Rusty, because you told me I'm a good time, but you've never said I'm fun, and that one just didn't feel sincere, so I'm thinking I need something a bit more sincere here. Although I have heard that, Chiefs so it's Chiefs lagging as a whole, right? Whereas I thought, it could be one player, but then idiot Mac, they're in a bloody gaming house now. So here they are. Unfortunately, they can't just run to somewhere else, set up a different internet connection. I'm really hoping that we will get back into the game and that they are not going to lose any momentum, because that would really hurt. It's a bad thing for both sides, right? Because they're feeling it. They're there. They're having a great time in terms of playing. Both teams, I'd say, pretty happy with how it's gone. Maybe Chiefs not as much when they did get caught out diving that turret down in the bot lane. And I was a little confused when that first blood happened. I actually blinked and I missed that one. I heard first blood. I was like, huh? Because it was before the coach's interview. That's how early that Chiefs were just hunting for blood. Yeah, we haven't really seen many level invades the split, right? It seems to be that, we've condensed down these coaching interviews to allow us to prevent that being the case. But for once, they've obviously done the homework, seen how Order set themselves up and punished accordingly. Now, I have everyone's favorite interviewer and colorcaster. It's not Rusty. Screw that guy. We got Kitty. Let's bring her back in. Now, Kitty, give us your thoughts on the game so far.
So I actually went for a snack break and it was 0-1 favored towards Chiefs. I came back and it was 3-2 and I just didn't know what the hell happened. I had to look at the replay. It was a bad tower dive from the Chiefs where they they forgot Viego was broken and he can just go invulnerable 2 times. So Raze didn't get his bomb off. But Raze actually, I was looking at it and Raze actually jumped out really early instead of getting that Braum passive off on the Viego. So maybe that's has something to do with it, but I wasn't completely sure. And yeah, it seems that Corporal is being very proactive in these fights for the around the map. You see Corporal always being mid first. He was at the Rift Herald first. Drac is just a bit behind in tempo, so that's everything I've picked up so far.
I just want to shout out to Kevy as well. I don't think I've ever seen a transformed Viego into a Lee Sin use a Warthog. Like,
that's really true.
I saw that on the replay. I was like, oh, he's got skills. What's going on here, huh? Nuts. Now, there's a whole lot of very gifted mechanical gamers going on so far. And I did see, that attempt from Tapoon. They wanted to go for that dive. Arthur went for the very early invade on his first clear as well. I think that's because they had a deep ward and they kind of knew that Heavy had opted to go down to the Krugs. But look, I was just watching. I don't know if you guys were focusing on that or something else at that point. Do you want to tell me why? Was it just solely because they were looking for that early gank and it didn't go off?
Oh, it's not. No, I think what was really happening was a big wave crashing, right? So Arthur timed his invade towards like the Gromp where Kevy would be with the wave that was crashing. So it's more flexible actually than just a top dive. I would say that a Tryndamere that is level 3, I think it was maybe 4 at the time, after the wave crashed, isn't going to dive and exhaust Nasus on any planet at any situation. Like maybe not even with the jungler, right? Because the exhaust is just going to remove one of them. So for me, it was about pushing the wave and invading Kevy. And they get, I think it was Gromp and Blue from it. So that was really the play and really the win. And it's abusing the Tryndamere side of the map while it's winning and while it exists to get leads before Nasus has 5 points in W and you just don't want to play anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, talk to me, Skimmy. So we're looking at both the team comps. What are the win conditions for them in terms of the champs that they have? Like, which way are we going? Is Bio just going to be left out on an island and hope the split pushes way to victory? Like, what's going on here?
I don't know if he needs to necessarily be the one to split push. I think he has to play much more of a diffusing role, right? I guess the question that we're asking right now is, will he go for the Hull Breaker? Because I'm almost in my mind set that he's going to be looking to pick up the Randuins, looking to try and pick up the dead man's play. Look to basically say, Tryndamere and Tristana, you're just removed from the game. You can't touch me. I'm sucking through Wither at least 2 to 3 times throughout a team fight, and you can cleanse it, but it just won't matter. Obviously, you've got 2 hyper-scaling champions in that regard, right? The Nasus and the Corki.
Yeah.
I just feel like you're putting the game on such a big timer right now, where it really is the complete inverse of what we saw in the last time those 2 teams met. So, need to see a lot more from Chiefs, I guess, to try and find these advantages, and they found a few so far.
Well, I have some good news. I have heard that we're about to jump back in. Kitty,
nice.
Bye, we're gone. See ya.
Goodbye. Bye.
Well, fantastic. I'm glad that we're back in, right? Because, you kind of are beholden to your ISP in situations like this. There have been times myself, back in my heyday, in scrims and in games, where I'm literally unplugging the internet, plugging in the hotspot, and praying on 4G to carry me to victory.
Yeah, it does happen. Biggest mistake I made with my newest phone was that I didn't have a way to connect it to the computer. It was a serious issue. It got remedied on day 1 of OS Internet. So we're definitely experiencing just a little bit of that here, but what matters is we're back into the game, Skimmy. And as we came back in, Blue was taken. Map has been flipped by the Chiefs as well. Herald is about to be taken. If I was Order, I'd be putting a lot of priority on the Drake when it spawns in 3 minutes because you don't want to give a free Ocean Soul. And we will be nearing at that point. So 2 minutes, 45 seconds from now, Kisei should have Muramana done, or at least be very close to, because the Monument is completed and will stack up super fast now. Not just the Ludens that he has. May even have some excess change for a Hex Drink or something of the likes if we're lucky. The Order on this side of the fence will just have a lot of item spikes. They should have a lot of incentive to be fighting for these objectives. The question is, what does Herald do in the meantime?
The question is, where does it really go? As you say, right, Tapoon's already single-handedly taken down the top side, so is it just going to be planted in the mid to open up the map to free up some roaming options? Look at Tally, he's hit the Predator, he's on the hard Puma! Oh, that is just the beauty of Zeri in a nutshell.
Geez, that was, if that cancels him though, like if that stun hits, it stops the dash. That's how close that was to finding the mark. But pixel perfect stuff here from the AD of Order, not going to stop a Herald from charging though, Skimmy.
Easy
turret.
It's gone. Mid turret removed. That's the second of the game here for Chiefs. And I want to pick your brain here for a second because I almost find it a little bit poetic. I know we've used the word a few times today, but last time Order in a situation where they had to try and push the tempo, they did play for that soul point, and also in that game it was an Ocean Soul, but it didn't prevent all the pain that a Corki late game delivered.
Would Poetic Justice be Order winning with the Ocean Soul?
Oh, true. Just run it back. 4 Ocean Drakes in a row, surely.
That's it. The saltiest run back. 4 Ocean Soul is disgusting. Kisei is in trouble.
He's in a lot of trouble, isn't he? He's got a flash, he's got a Valkyrie, burns it early, and what's Push just going to ignore him? Says, okay, Kevy, try and stun me. I just don't care. The cavalry will arrive, and he will not be able to get that health back. It wouldn't have been enough anyway, but Kevy is massive, and he's actually 4-1.
Yeah, he now gets to sample what it's like to have a Hull Breaker as a Tryndamere for 5 seconds there. You've got the Predator used in bottom lane. They were hunting. They thought for just a moment that Biopanther may be a Krug Goblin top laner. But he's not that kind of top laner. He's way too tempered, way too calculated and measured. He's going to be recalling in the bush and is safe. Moment of fear, he does cancel that recall, Skimmy, but he'll be fine. And so it isn't going to be a trade by any means that's too crazy. Chiefs still, though, seeing that many members go topside, will be able to at least pressure, push away bot lane. But all eyes to the Drake.
And all eyes do go towards that Drake. Kisei has the package. Bear in mind, this is the nerfed Corki, so it's a lot harder to try and really force those moments as we've seen in the past, but it is here now. So, question becomes, will Chiefs entertain the idea? Tapoon is left topside with no summoners and a Hull Breaker, so he probably just wants a split push. The team isn't, positioned to really look for this. They want to assert control elsewhere.
Yeah, so they're just not going to contest, and that's perfectly fine, right? Like we speak about Dragon as a point of priority for Order, not for Chiefs. Chiefs are going to be choosing instead to prioritize turret taking, gold, and control of the map overall. Freeing up Tapoon to threaten turrets is going to be nice to do. 3 members topside onto Biopanther. Bio is 2 levels down right now as it stands on the Tapoon. Who's just had free reign of split pushing and side laning, right? The Bio's going to take the moment to hold this wave here as long as he can. We'll just get back a bit of experience, but the trade-off is just a nice shop, a good reset. And because Hullbreaker is so cheap, Skimmy, I think it's like 2,800, which is like 400 less than most Mythics. He's able to get that second item in short order here as well, 50 CS above his respective lane opponent. I guess we have to ask the question on what does Bio do 50 CS 2 levels down? Does he still measure up to a Tryndamere with 2 items? Like at what point is it fine?
Very good question, because right now we're never going to find out the answer. He is on Corki duties. We've seen this before. Mammoth versus PGG. It wasn't a pretty story for the Corki, and it won't be again this game.
Yeah, I mean, that's just lane assignments. You can't afford to be caught out in the side lane as the Corki. If the Nasus is top and the Tryndamere is missing, you have to be careful. And he's also not protected. So, to me, that's just a mistake from Kisei. He's on the wrong side of the map. He's on the Tryndamere side of the map and just dies to the Tryndamere. So no one should be surprised by that happening. And only now on this wave reset do things actually course correct, but it is with an extra 300 into the pockets of Tapoon.
A little bit of an idea of what this does look like. Sonic Wave connects. This would be crazy if they were to go for the dive. It's into a Nasus. He has the ultimate. He's going to pop it. He's going to go for the 1v3. He's very tanky. He removes the armor, but not tanky enough. Divine Sunder has been completed, but he can't shred and sustain that much.
No, Divine Sunder is not really going to be enough tankiness to deal with that. Exhaust not going to do enough when there's 3 people there. Raze is going to get jumped on, but has the rocket jump himself to be perfectly fine. And so it is Order just starting to fall a little bit behind on the ball here, right? They secure the Drake, they get time for themselves, but Kisei cannot continue to die in side lanes. We need to see Corporal and Kevy get a little bit more active on the map, where it's Arthur and Dragku getting it done.
Yeah, Dragku, as you say, flashing forward, applying the passive, but no follow-up, no easy applicator for the stun to land. And they're going to hit the Predator as well. He was keen on the flank. Order have been given a blessing.
I think it's also really fair to say at this point in the game, all we've seen is proactivity from Chiefs and reacting from Order. Yes, it is a 4-1 Viego, but think about how he got all 4 of those kills. And it is just watching the Chiefs dive and counter-ganking, right?
But it was the same story last time as well, right? I mean, it was 7 kills to Order up against Chiefs that just continue to play this style of game.
Yeah, the contrast between games is that I think Order have given themselves a bit more lately on her ults.
Oh, well, Tapoon has been caught out of position. This time he's going to spin over here, but you just spun into the arms of an Nasus that is keen to really claim you as one more stack for the queue, which he claims. That's nice. Probably the best shutdown you ever find.
Cheeky 600 into the pockets of the Nasus. How's that 50 CS difference, Skimmy. The kill is worth 15 odd CS, then he's just closed it by 30 with a wave in hand. That's really nice for Order, really important for Order as well, because it's not a tank item just yet from the Nasus. But he'll be a lot closer to it now.
Nearly at 400 stacks as well, Rusty.
Raze is going to have a crack here for sure.
Oh, here we go! Jumps in with the red buff. Woohoo! Look at the damage.
He's alive?
He alive? No, the miscalculation again. That hurts to look at. Kevin's just going to flash forward. An easy execute with a flash dash.
Wow.
Ult claim. I've taken your soul. And Chiefs will be so distraught that that did not work.
I want to see if it was Kisei popping his refillable potion at the last second there as well, because I'm pretty sure he has Time Warp Tonic, and that might have been the difference in health. But Order now going to hit this Baron. They've got the numbers advantage. Both bottom laners dead from the side of Chiefs. You want to hit some Corky Rockets before this Baron becomes a big issue. There's a tall order for Chiefs to get in here, though, with 2 dead. Drags alive now.
These are the champions that will probably be best equipped, if any, from the side of Chiefs to go for this contest. Keeping it in suspension, Trinidad jumps in, they're not going to steal it away. That has been confirmed now by Order. How many kills can they find? Can Chiefs answer back with anything at all? Tapu expires with the Undying Rage, and so does his Hellfire. He dies in a blink, in a heartbeat. Kisei claims it before he dies as a result as well. Now Kevi is 7-1. The first blood, forget about it. It does not exist, because this man is on a mission.
Oh, Kevi's just huge right now, and you can see the ripple effect, right, of just getting caught at the red buff from Topoon. The freedom to move to the top side of the map. They get there for the Baron fight after they find the kills on AD and support. Arthur gets in just a little bit too late. Doesn't actually have a chance to steal and gets 1 hit. And turning into Lee Sin, Kevi makes the plays. Bio's caught.
They're going to claim it. They're going to take it. Has he done enough damage in towards this Tristana for the rest of the team to play clean up? They have. Corporal gets it. As Puma bursts into life and claims a second. Once again, the bot lane of Chiefs does not exist.
This is big, Skimmy, because the scaling from Order is coming online at an accelerated pace. The more they find Raze and Dragku, and we complement that killer instincts, and I think that was fair. But now they've gone a bit too far with it, and the gold is starting to really balloon now for Order's side. Zeri, 3-1-5, and Kevi, like you mentioned before, now 7-1. Their team fighting is going to be unreal.
It's hitting a point of really no return. They're up by 6k gold now. It's a huge swing when you think back to what? The solo kills that Tapoon was getting, and Chiefs only then started to pull away in this game, up by 2k. A massive injection of gold and experience as well, as Kisei has the package, very close to level 16 as well. And it may be too much for the Chiefs to come back from.
Certainly threatening as well with this package, because the Drake was effectively free and the package was just allowed to be picked up as it was taken, right? So gets waves in mid. A lot of threat, especially with that Void Staff completed, and he's level 15, 1 more level away from being one of the most oppressive champions in the game. Something that does outrange everyone on the side of the Chiefs. And this is going to be one of those things I still want to see if it was a Time Warp Tonic from Kisei. I might just watch it back myself after. But 1 health on 2 occasions now for Raze potentially getting resets and living results in 2 deaths now. That adds up, Skimmy.
Yeah. Could be a very different story. I mean, it is one of those champions where it is very high risk, high reward. He's taken a gamble. We know what he can do. He's capable of it, but has been punished accordingly. And Tapoon is going to forget about that one. Cannot spin to safety. Tally in trouble. Been locked in place for the meantime by Corporal, but a cage goes down, a protection is there, and Drake, who buffs up his stats. He's got the mitigation to survive. The last 10 seconds of this Baron buff, claiming another turret topside as it now leads 5 turrets to 2 in favor of Order.
Good sweeper there by Kevi. Spots Arthur before any kind of face checking takes place. And Order, as the Baron dust settles, reset with a 6,000 gold advantage from what was a pretty even game. We'll get to see it again. Yeah, something hits there. It was either a spell or his potion that he activates, but that plus 60 as well as the 50 prior. A lot of damage comes out of him. I mean, geez. Still so close to the kill. I guess you could make the argument that Tristana just uses the ult to push him towards the team away from the turret, but nevertheless, I think he was looking for the 1 hit.
Yeah. Guess to ask the question, right? You know, how big's the ruler? Because that one was close. It was short. It was it was anything but a moment of heartbreak, almost heart attack, if you will, for Kisei. As he could have fallen on down. He certainly didn't need that one. He's taking a gamble. And I would not be surprised, quite honestly, given the current state of affairs, that he continues to play at that pace.
And we have to look at this 1v1, right? Does Topoon feel confident? We know it's not a 1v1 right now because he's on the weaker side of the map with no support. Order's team is here. But at what point do you think Nasus just looks at the Tryndamere and in your face just starts queuing minions, you know? I think we're nearing that marker.
It's going to hurt so much. 500 stacks on a Nasus. I mean, it's one cycle of the cooldown and you're gone.
What do we have for Veigar stacks? We need to check in with both stack champions, I suppose, back to back. 263.
Well, he's nearly 700 ability power. It's adding up.
Oh, big time.
Battled the one-shots.
Yeah, one of them's just a giant Nasus running you down. The other one needs to hit the cages. There's so many options for one-shots here, though. Given that Kisei's gone for the very greedy build of Void Staff into the Hydra, doesn't have a Maw, doesn't have anything to survive a one-shot. So Tally has the potential. If he's away from both exhausts.
It's a good point. It's a good point. Maw, as you know, has been buffed, so would offer him a lot of the sustain. But as the Ravenous Hydra, which becomes a staple in this build as well for those rockets to keep you topped up and healthy. Next 45 seconds, though, all eyes go towards the objectives. I mean, it's a crossover like you would not believe. 2 Drakes have been picked up by both teams. Order went on their way to Exodia for back-to-back Ocean Drakes. And that'd be just the final man on the coffin.
Chief's still with a pretty solid ARAM type of composition. As you can see right now, that looks like a Q from BioPanther, and Topoon has regrets. But that side lane is just a nullifying matchup. We have to look at the 4v4, and if we assume that Topoon can't get anything done, if that's what we assume, then we have to look at what Chiefs can do in a 4v4 to have any shot of winning this game. Raze has suffered a lot. He's been falling behind, but has got 3 items. So the damage is still there. If the cage is good, there's only 1 cleanse. There's no Mikhails. And the clock is the biggest thing, Skimmy. A bold trade. Order on the way to this. We have to look at the timings here. They might get it in time. Ooh, 7k, maybe not. They've been spotted.
That's gone. Between Rapid Fire and everything else.
Yeah, they got it.
It is deleted. 3rd Ocean Drake picked up for Order. The consequence, they've lost Baron. Doesn't matter though, if they can find kills to remove that buff. They go on towards Draco. He hits the Glacial Fissure, flashes away in the cage from Veigar, offers protection in a choke point, but he's still dead. Corporal flashing forward with conviction once again. And his Leona gameplay is looking clean.
And look at mid. You've punished Chiefs so hard by forcing them to the top side of the map. BioPanther, because he's just a bit of a freak with macro, has the wave set up in mid. They'll break the inhibitor for free. It is a 4v5. Very difficult to push into a Baron buff Veigar, so they might have their reservations for forcing an end. But a free inhibitor is a trade for the Baron, and suddenly this Baron sneak, I guess, by Chiefs is equalized just a little bit more.
Certainly has been. Big pings from Order to make sure they clear out all the jungle. Don't afford any free farm here for the side of Chiefs, who it's feeling like right now are going to be utilizing this Baron much more as a denial rather than a sieging tactic. They're now going to look to try and force some numbers advantage. A deep TP to catch Arkebi, isolated from the rest of his team, who did go for the reset. They burned a flash, but that's all they'll get.
It's good that they get the flash forced out of him, but unfortunately for them, it's not going to be the kill. Doesn't give them an opportunity to use the Baron to its fullest just yet. We'll just be delaying the reset from Kevi, who has low-key gone for the Death Stance into a Wit's End build, so definitely is relishing in the new patch on this Viego. Death Stance has its own version of Triumph. Triumph obviously existing in his kit because he doesn't need mana and has Precision Primary. It's a lot of healing if they get a kill, Skimmy. That's the big point there. Very, very difficult to take down a Viego who, 1, has Death Stance, 2, has Triumph, and 3 is a Viego that gets health from jumping in the bodies of others with those resets.
Just unkillable now. I don't see a world in which you can literally take him down. I mean, usually you'd be buying from a point of power a Guardian Angel to protect that bounty, but Death Stance served the purpose wonderfully on this occasion. Look at Topoon. He's fought the entire team here for a Death Bush, hoping for a face check.
They got it.
They have got it. A flash away from Biopanther. He's got to buy as much time as he can. Can the Raid boss, can the Titan survive? He cannot. Order a little bit too slow to come on through to find that punish.
I feel like Hullbreaker lost its effectiveness on Topoon. So if Biopanther was watching, right, had Topoon clicked on, I think he would have been aware that was happening. Just throwing that one out there. But either way, it is the Hullbreaker third for the NASA's side, which is why I was looking at that specifically. It'd be almost impossible for the Trinity to deal with the 1v1. But when there's 4 there, NASA still dies.
Raze continued the free farm in the mid lane whilst it all went on. Good dash away there from Draku. Corporal will not catch him out.
You know, if that hit, I think Corporal dies, Skibby. Would have been close. There was just too many members of Chiefs there. Wondering what it is that Kevy's looking to purchase, because he tried to pillage his laner's cannon, missed the cannon, and then walked mid to steal a minion. If it was 2 control wards, that's certainly a bit how you're going. Yeah, it was. He didn't need it.
He won't get the wrath of you today. Control wards doing his inventory.
Yeah, he's good, because he's got a bunch of stopwatch users on the rest of his team ready for the next team fight. There's no stopwatch, rather control ward slots free. But Corporal's also got his Watchful Ward Stone right now, is 1 level away from it upgrading to a Vigilant Ward Stone. So still has 2 control wards to place on the map presently, which compensates nicely at this point in the game.
Lots of damage on towards Biopanther. They force out the ult once again. Big fight. All eyes go towards Ocean Drake one more time. Up in 30 seconds. Order 3 Ocean Drakes back-to-back. Chiefs still with 2 to the name. We've yet to really see a 5v5 in the last 10 minutes.
Corky package. Observers are going to say it as I'll show it as I say it. He's just waiting, biding his time. Has the teleport as well, so keep that in mind. There is a teleport flank angle at the Chiefs' blue buff if they're not careful with how they set up on the map. They say Biopanther are going to have to push Chiefs back first. Note, this means a 3v3 mid. We've got jumps in.
We certainly do. Puma in trouble. Buster shot goes out and sends him to the Nether Realm. He's gone. Puma out for 50 seconds. Raze finally connects as he's so desperately needed. But Tapoon does die to shut down from Biopanther. Now Kevy becomes the Tryndamere, spins into action, but realizes that the package is going to get cancelled out by the exhaust. Draku runs into the waiting after the cage. Corgi finds that kill, but also dies for 60 seconds. Raze just gets a triple kill. A big, big shutdown. And Kevy dies. The Ocean Drake will be claimed by Chiefs, but that's huge.
And Raze just goes absolutely insane. They might continue to look for Bio. Pops the ult.
Doesn't exist. He does not exist. Look at the itemization right now for the Tristana. Would not be surprised if he jumped in, but he would get absolutely walloped. So much damage. 9k damage.
Yeah, I mean, Raze just does everything, right? 2 mistakes don't make the man. It's 1 team fight, and that's what it takes. 700 gold shutdown, easy as you'd like. For the AD carry that went to NA and did it with Immortal. Big team fight. You watch the damage combo. It's Puma caught out of position here. That's what matters. Cleanse isn't going to save you, right? So it just goes down. This means flash kick from Arthur onto Corporal. The Leona is just destined to die. This is where the trade doesn't need to happen. Topoon dies with ultimate ready. So this is even more winning for Chiefs if this doesn't happen. Kisei gets 7k damage done in this fight, but the second he packages there, he's just dead. There's literally nothing for him. And unfortunately, same thing with Viego getting those resets stuck in the Drake pit then.
Those cages put in so much work, though, in terms of staggering orders advance. They were hunting for those resets. We were saying how invulnerable this Viego would be, but ultimately wasn't able to find the mark, to find the resets, to find the moment to really capitalize on that that package. And you start to ask the question, how much fight do Chiefs still have? Because the gold is very close to being dead even once again at the 36-minute mark.
We still have to keep in mind how large Kisei is when it comes to fight setups. That was just really messy from Order, right? There was no actual setup. They get caught mid. They're reeling as they're dealing with 2 people showing bottom for the first time. I think if Order play that better, it could be a different game. But Chiefs run them ragged, right? They're playing exceptionally. when it comes to the objective setup, when they have to actually start contesting that one. Order with sweepers, I think ready, aren't actually going to sweep their way through just yet. They're sweeping with their noses in it. Just look for the Corky rockets.
Yeah.
That's the difference maker here. If a rocket hits before a fight starts, it's a different game.
There's your proof. Tally, 998 ability power. Nasus currently 700 stacks. So we continue the idea of which champ can one-shot better. We're working our way towards another Baron, which just feels like the dance that either team is just a little bit too frightened to take.
And we can say nobody fools Raze 3 times, Skibby. The question is what happens on the 4th. Baron on the cards for 2 minutes with no objective. Trades. Chiefs seem to constantly be the ones that want to take the initiative and take the fight first. I think that's fair. What actually happens when we have an even playing field and both teams meet in the middle? One objective kind of does result in that happening. Just going to be the tango for Vision first, the ward tango.
How's your nerves? Test your mental. We've had pauses. We've had momentum shifts in this game. And it feels like, really, if anything, both teams, yes, the Baron is important, we know. But we've just been biding our time, waiting for that decisive 7th Dragon off the game. Match point to ultimately match the soul point that would be acquired. We're hitting another 40-minute banger between these two teams. It always feels to be this way.
Yeah, dead even in gold. 200 between them, 38 minutes into this one. Baron started on Vision, by the way. Nice ward from Order, but it gets done so fast. It's just gone.
Yeah, a late game Tristana, it just does not exist.
Tally.
They caught out Tally. Does he have a stopwatch? He can't. He doesn't have it. He's gone. That's huge for the context of this game. Gia gets instantly popped once again on towards Puma, who hits the cleanse switch, comes back from the afterlife. And we get the live team fight damage graph. So,
I mean, Raze just put Puma in the bin, Skimmy.
You would say it's a 1-for-1, but ultimately it's just a GA.
Yeah, the GA's pop, so it's not a real 1-for-1, but Raze has so much damage. I mean, constantly look at this Tristana. If he's able to free hit.
Order are going in. They want to end this game right now. 59 minutes on the clock. They need to try and make something absolutely happen. Chiefs go in. Tapoon gets exhausted on the flank. Looking to try to assassinate out Puma. Who's gone? He gets crit. He's onto a second target. On towards Corporal. Flashing forward onto Kisei. And takes him out of the game. Another shutdown. Raze is unleashed.
Huge team fight from Raze, from the Chiefs as a whole. Tapoon gets in with the flank. It's a quad kill for this Tristana. We set up one thing, right, which is if the Trist can free hit, the game goes the way of the Chiefs. Well, they've got 30 seconds to work with till the first person spawns, teleports straight down mid, and a Baron buff in hand. This could be enough time to just end the game.
They've got the DPS to take the Baron, they've got the DPS to take the fight, and they've got the timers with a minion wave working in their favor. Chiefs have showcased, they've got the mental resilience, they've got the mental fortitude, they've got the hands, the mechanics, the plan. They're gonna get the game. It was a toughie, but at 40 minutes, what a way to end day 2.
Raze just puts the team on his back at the last minute, right? Wins one big team fight at the Drake, and that's what it boils down to. It felt like this game was in Order's hands. They had a 7,000 gold lead. They were in the driver's seat. But Raze just comes in clutch, hits the big team fight, and that's all it takes. You can see the team rally around him as well. And just a sly smile from the AD carry of the Chiefs. He knows he did what was needed, even after a couple of little errors early.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he is the talisman of the team, right? He's had a huge history with the Chiefs, goes overseas, comes back, and back to it all really began in terms of defining his legacy in the Oceanic region. And Mac, I mean, we said it briefly for a second there, 40-minute bangers. These teams are as evenly matched as anything, and that game, it didn't disappoint, I'll tell you that much.
Look, maybe not for you because you got your predictions right. You and Kitty still, you know, up there sitting all high and mighty.
We were so right, Mac, until we weren't.
Oh, forget the predictions. What a game.
Look, we were right up until the last minute, and like I looked away after the ace. I was like, all right, I'll just look back next time the next team fight's on. And then I hear you screaming. I look back and I'm like, the Nexus! Where did it bloody go? But, you know, that's what happens when you get these long games. The respawn timers are just so long. and you've just got so much damage coming through from Raze, coming through from Chiefs, that they just smashed it the whole way down mid and managed to take the dub. So that's it. That was the difference maker. One bad fight from Order, and all of a sudden, Chiefs straight back in it. And look, you mentioned it, that it was so damn close, so damn entertaining. There were so many points where I'm thinking back to when Raze jumped on Kisei, almost one-shot him, but then Kisei did pop the healing of sorts, whatever, the tonic or whatnot, but he just got exploded, and there were just so many little points where it was like, oh, that kill, you know, how much is Order going to get off the back of this one? Then you've got that Baron coming through. You just got so many different turning points in the game. Look how much gold was in the damn game, Skimmy.
I mean, look how many items to complete, right? You're looking at full builds for a lot of these players. It was... I mean, you just don't see that very often. It was a fantastic showing from both of these teams, and really was a sort of the flip of the script from last time. You play this comp, we'll play this one. And it looked like it was all done for Order. They looked to have all the answers, but that one fight, that one moment, you have to imagine around the Dragon Pit when Corky goes in and gets exhausted, that's when it felt like Cheese had an invitation back in.
It's just like, for me, honestly, that game was Order's to win, but they chose to burger flip at the Nexus, and that's what it boils down to in my mind, right? Like, you have a kill, you've traded the Baron, instead of waiting, even playing for Ocean Soul, you had time on your side.
Yeah.
But they chose to flip that burger. They just wanted to be out of there, win or loss, and that's what it boils down to, right? Give Raze an opportunity to pop off, he will.
That's it. Speaking of burgers, I'm starving. Probably going to get some Menulog or something after this. Now, Kitty, would you like to get burgers with me on Menulog? Or do you want to flip them? I don't know. How do you like your burgers?
Well, I was starving until that game just now. I'm pretty sure everyone is quite entertained after that game. And someone else who has just probably have the best performance so far is Raze. So let's bring him onto the desk. Hello, Raze. Congrats on the amazing turnaround on the Tristana. How are you feeling?
Can you guys... I feel pretty good after the game, but I definitely had a good start to the game, and then I just like inted for like 10, 15 minutes straight, so... And we like had a bit of lag issues in between, so that felt like really bad. And I don't know, this was like my worst game of the split so far, and I was just really disappointed in myself. I thought they had like a much more easy to execute comp, and I guess we just outplayed them ultimately.
The boys cheering you on in the back.
Yeah.
But let's talk about that game-winning fight where Order were pushing into your Nexus towers. Tell me what the comms are like and walk me through the fight.
The comms, Junes just said he had a good flank, and I didn't think about them just trying to like end the game and just hit the next starts. Like, I think I'd have to rewatch it, but it would be pretty close for them to hit. But Juhoon had a really good flank. We had a really good target calling, like aiming Nasus since he does the most damage to the turrets. We played it like really well, and yeah, we just ended the game since we had a whiff. So proud of everyone.
I'm also proud of everyone. But let's talk about the Zeri Tristana matchup. So we've seen this matchup picked quite a couple of times in the LCO so far. Tell us how the matchup is played and how laning goes.
The main reason Tristana's bad is just because against all the high pro ADs like Jinx, Aphelios, and Caitlyn, she just has like really bad matchups. But the Zeri matchup is pretty free. Like, you can play any AD carry in Zeri and it would be good in lane, but as soon as she hits 6, like, she's a really powerful champ. But Triss is like one of the few assassinated carries, and as you saw at the dragon fight, I just like one-shot her. And I think Triss is really good into just, as long as she has a good lane phase, she's a good champ, and I'm like really confident playing her, so I like playing this matchup, and I would expect teams to stop opting into it. I guess they don't respect me enough, not sure.
Well, it was our second time seeing Chiefs draft the Braum Tristana, I believe, and we kind of saw a repetitive behavior from you guys where you sit in the top brush and you camp for a kill. However, this game, obviously you didn't get to kill the Corki. Is this going to be something that we're going to see Chiefs doing more of because you want that pick before a fight?
No, that's just like a very Tristana specific thing, and this game I felt like we were in a very hard situation, and the only way to get like some sort of advantage was to just pick like that, and I knew they wouldn't be ready for it, but they did have numbers around. I mechanically misplayed Corky lived and I flashed forward and then I ended up dying, so that was like, I don't know. I kind of lost a bit of hope there, but we ultimately won because, I don't know, they're pretty bad at macro. We just get like 2 free barons somehow.
It's okay because you guys turned it around. Well, hopefully, Raze, you get a good night's rest because you have a game tomorrow. So thanks for the interview and congrats on the amazing performance.
Cheers.
Aggressive typing with Tally. I don't know why you didn't pick up on it, Kitty. I would just be like, can you tell Tally to please be quiet while I'm conducting my interview? Should have hit him with it. You're too polite.
I swear
Kitty.
they had like a webcam mic or something. It was picking up everything.
Look, maybe we can get Tech God Dragku to try and fix that up for Raze next time. But look, big W coming out for the Chiefs today, where they were very close to putting another L in that L column, but didn't happen. Of course, we've got to talk about the player of the game, and I'm not going to keep you waiting because we all know it was Raze. He single-handedly saved them at the end of the game. Man did so much work all game. 10, 4, and 3 for the KDA and 72% field participation. Having a lot of fun as well. First blood, you know, that's a great way to start, but then also getting that quadra at the end. Mates, you could not ask for too much more, Skimmy.
You really couldn't. I mean, he tried and he tried and he tried again. From the very get-go in the game, we were saying this is a high-risk, high-reward kind of style. And, you know, if at first you don't succeed, he just keeps going at it. And at the moment when you rely upon somebody with that level of pedigree, he proves to be, you know, that player one more time. I'm really glad they actually highlighted Tapoon as well, because I thought that flank was phenomenal. The Tryndamere comes in, just absolutely removes the 2 hyper carries from the equation. And it's just easy pickings then for the Tristana to get reset after reset.
Now, that was a player of the game. Do we even want to talk about play of the day? I feel like there's only one option.
Surely that game as a whole.
Like, yeah, big banger game. I'm not even going to throw the question out. You guys know what it is. It was Raze saving the damn day. Look at him. He's a superhero in the rift and outside. Order threatening to end, and Raze just says, you know what, I'm going to jump away. Give me some range, big boy. I'm going to snipe this one down. Give me 1. Give me 2. Give me the triple A. Give me the quadra. It's everyone in the bag. I'm hungry. And he didn't use Menulog, so, you know, I guess that's the one fault for the clip here. You know, Skimmy, any pointers for Raze?
Just to listen to your play-by-play, really. It gets me hyped. So, yeah, look, he's going to be looking back at that one, VOD reviewing, crunching the numbers, thinking, how can he improve? And hopefully, he's going to be walking away feeling impressed that not only is he the MVP, but he's been hyped up for the performance that he did deliver.
Man, he got that bloody victory lap down mid as well. You don't see that too often, do you, Rusty?
I mean, you don't often see someone go coast to coast back after the quad kill straight from your own Nexus to winning the game, but that's what it came down to, right? I mean, the enemy team here in Order just said, we're doing it. We're not going to play slow, even though we have a pretty good measure of the map. And kind of like what Ray said, actually, they did give away 2 Barons for free there, and that was a significant factor.
Well, look, it goes back to the old saying, the best offense is a good defense. Apparently, that wins games. It's not often that works in League of Legends, but certainly did today. Now, let's look at the standings. Let's see where everyone's sitting after this. I'd say crazy day of games, you know, or crazy end to the day, rather. Chiefs still up top with Peace, and there's 2 ties still remaining. I was hoping we'd be all nice and orderly under that first tie break. I'm just waiting for it. I don't know if it's ever going to happen. Maybe we have to wait until Peace and Chiefs play again to have a little bit of separation at the top of the table. But Kitty, tell me, what's going on here? What are you looking at that is looking maybe a bit more normal? Direwolves up there with Mammoth now?
Yeah, we are seeing Order being placed 4th, and Mammoth is now currently tied with Direwolves for 5th, so these 2 teams can be a contender for the playoffs, with Kenga following closely with the 2-6, but definitely 7-1 Peace, 7-1 Chiefs. I don't know who's better.
It's interesting, right? Because we're looking at Order. They're in 4th now. They have been sitting pretty in 3rd for a little while, and PGG finally leapfrogging up the ladder. So now they are 3rd for the moment. I feel like this is the highest we've seen them. Maybe they've been tied for 3rd for a little while there, but looking to really start to gain some traction and catch up to Peace and Chiefs, because it's going to be hard. They have to hope that Peace and Chiefs really fumble, because Pensanet are already 2 wins behind. That's a pretty big separation, Rusty.
Yeah, but they do have 2 games left against each respective team. So if you keep that in mind, they can match them, right, by beating them twice on those round robins, and perhaps that's enough to sneak those leads out. Every team has proven that they can lose and they can beat everyone on their day. So
yeah,
very exciting to watch how the second round robin comes into fruition here. And no surprises that Order in 4th are sitting 4-4 in the standings. Order do like that position. Matt, they like 4th place a lot.
Yeah, 4's all over the place. Look, fortunately, I don't have to remember too much here because you are the brains on the broadcast, Rusty. So all those things you said, you can just say them again next week for me. However, we still have one more day here for week 4 because it's a super week. It's day 3. It's hump day. It's Wednesday. You guys love it, and I'm looking at these matchups. I'm seeing some spicy ones. 6 p.m. Mammoth and the Chiefs going head-to-head. Are we going to see a crazy upset, or are Chiefs just going to be having another walk in the park? 7 p.m. Order up against Gravitas. Maybe Gravitas will have a chance, but we'll see how Order play because they looked relatively good today. 8 p.m. Kanga and Direwolves. This one is now a bit of a nail biter. We'll see if Kanga can get another dub on the board or if Direwolves are going to be starting to look solid like they have been. And 9 p.m. Oh, this is where it gets spicy. Another beautiful game to end the day, to end the first super week of the split. It's Pentanet, it's Peace going toe-to-toe. This is Pentanet's chance to catch up to Peace on the ladder. Skimmy, am I going to ask you what's your game of the day? Or do I
come on,
know?
mate. You already know, mate. It has to be that last game, right? PGG will be out for blood. They say, look, it was a toughie. We felt like the draft ultimately didn't work in our favor, and Peace just eclipsed us. And no doubt they're going to be out for blood, showcasing that their form has been pretty good so far. They've definitely found a new leaf on life and what is going to work for them. And having seen Peace drop a game, no doubt going to be the game to watch.
I am so damn excited for day 3 that I kind of just want to, throw to the end of the day
Just
already.
end
But
it.
we still have some things here. We still have some things to do.
Ah,
a little bit of housekeeping. One of which is if you guys love a little bit of competition, if you guys like giveaways, exclamation giveaway in the chat is going to do absolutely nothing. Baited. Was it Jabaited? That's the bloody emote. Exclamation mail in the chat, M-A-I-L, you cheeky buggers. Please put it in. Go on over to the link. You can sign up for all the good email stuff. It'll keep you up to date with all the giveaways and competitions. And then maybe there will be a day when exclamation giveaway or exclamation drop in chat works. Today, however, is not that day. Now that brings us to the end of day 2. We've got a third day to get to. Kitty, you've been silent over there. Anything you want to say to all the Kitty fans out there before we wrap the show?
Well, to all my Kitty fans, hopefully you've been enjoying Super Week and you had a great Valentine's Day. And hopefully we see you all tune in tomorrow.
Are they in for a surprise tomorrow, Kitty?
In for a surprise? Oh, yes, be excited for tomorrow because we're going to change things up here in the LCO again.
Oh, okay. And I think that's a good place to close it. The woman of mystery over there just putting a shroud into chat. Now, let's see how things go. But that's it from us here on the LCO. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you tomorrow for the first Super Week bloody day.
Gets negated also so much value as now it's Lisa's trying to shine and go Crescent Guard immune. They jump in, they take out Trondapon, they will finally remove Mayfan. Now no jungle smite. They're still hunting for kills though. Appy flashes forward and hits the binding. Can't cycle through the cooldowns much more. The dragon is secured as Peace find free and in Chaos. Kick goes out nice and early, as then there is the suplex. Looking to lock in place only once again. They all jump in together. Last breath is there, and they do find that last breath as they find one. Surely they're going to find a second. As look at Kanga's positioning those, setting up a flank from every single angle. They come together to headbutt off a second charge from that Rift Herald. Opening up the base, but Chungy jumps in. He gets made unstoppable because he's up in the air and he's down, crashing down. It's a broken roller coaster, and he's not having fun with it. 3 members. Hang on a minute. Nice binding. The lazy inevitable. Thunder comes down. There's the crash. There's the dash. And there is the claws to your face. Look how greedy Direwolves are in a regard. They really want to make sure that Kyose is the most fed member in this game. They are spoon-feeding him. They are donating him. Ultimately, he's 5-0 right now. Nobody else in this team is interested. There is the Kyose shot. They've got to be careful.
Oh, all right. Here comes the ult.
Doesn't need play-by-play. You just watch it. It's cinematic.
Constantly look at this Tristana. If he's able to free hit.
Order are going in. They want to end this game right now. 39 minutes on the clock. They need to try and make something absolutely happen. Chiefs go in. Sapoon gets exhausted on the flank. Looking to try to assassinate out Puma. Who's gone? He gets